Today we are going to discuss about what creates the bad impressions during the interviews. There could be several reasons, and one of them could be poor personal appearance. Remember, your personal appearance speaks about yourself. Sometimes the candidates, they have the desired qualifications, they have the necessary skills, still they are being rejected during the interviews. Why? Because of the poor personal appearance. So work on that. Number 2, avoid negative attitude. Always have a very positive attitude. Be very assertive. Answer in a very assertive way. Right? Next, sometimes what happens, or another reason why what leads to your rejection is lack of interest and enthusiasm. You sound very dull, very low, lack of energy. So the interviewer might think that if this is the case during the interview, then what would happen once you are on board? So always be very enthusiastic, always be full of energy while going for the interview. Similarly, now next reason for causing the bad impression is lack of preparation. What happens is that you fail to do a background research on the company. Always do a background research on the company, what the company has mission, what the company's vision is, a brief history about the company, what are the products and services the company is offering, etc. Another important reason what causes a bad impression is the poor knowledge of the role. Sometimes you don't know about the roles that is being offered to you. You don't know about the job profile. You don't know about the job description. So always try to learn the job description. Always try to look what the job description is, what job profile is. Right? Next is sometimes you fail to give concrete answers or concrete examples of the necessary skills. Sometimes the interviewer may ask about your past experiences, or give you a situation that how will you deal in a particular situation. So for all these situations, I have already told you, you should always have a narrative ready. You should narrate a story, and the storytelling should have a STAR methodology. STAR is an acronym. STAR, S stands for situation. Describe a situation that you were in. Then T is for the task, that the task which was given to you, right, or the task that was required. Next is what action you took, and finally R stands for the result, that what was the outcome or how you dealt with that particular situation. Okay. Another important thing is that what could lead to bad impressions during the interview is overemphasizing on money and rewards. Please don't do that. Sometimes the interviewer may have pre-decided a package for you based on your skills, based on your interview performance. So try to avoid overemphasizing. Lastly, what leads to the rejection or what leads to the bad impression is a lack of career plan. Say for example, if an interviewer asks you about how do you see yourself or how do you see your career 5 years down the line, and you don't have an answer, you simply you sit blank, that also leads to a very bad impression. Alright. Next is sometimes okay, even after when the interview is over, your job is not done. Try to analyze the interview. What went right, what went wrong, how I could have answered in a better way, and then maybe you might be called for the second round of the interview. So start preparing for the second round also. Okay. Sometimes you are called in the assessment centers, which may be the company's premises, or it may be a neutral venue where you have to meet the managers and the young executives. So and the activities which would involve, or which could involve, could be report writing, could be a oral presentation, could be a psychometric test. Psychometric test would include questions on numerical ability, reasoning, logical questions, then maybe on general awareness, maybe on English comprehension, maybe on computers. So in case if there is no negative marking, then attempt all the questions. However, in case there is a negative marking, then please make sure to attempt only those questions in which you are confident enough. Alright, don't try to attempt the questions with wild guesses and vague guesses. Avoid them. Right, next we will discuss about the telephonic interview. In the telephonic interviews, prepare yourself as thoroughly as you would have prepared yourself for the real interview. Don't take it for granted. Next is, you should always select a quiet and a calm place, so that there is no disturbance, there is no distraction, because the background noise may distract the interviewer. Right? Then also have a copy of a CV in front of you, so that if an interviewer asks you a question related to your CV, you don't have to look here and there, and you maybe you would give a dead space. Dead space means that there is no communication between you and the interviewer, and there is no noise. So avoid that. Always have a CV in front of you. Also have a pen and paper. Pen and paper should be also there with you handy, so that in case if the interviewer may ask you to write something, or may give you some important numbers, so you should always have a pen and paper handy with you. Right? Next is, you should always prepare the questions. Whatever questions you should, the interview questions should be same. Basically there is no difference between the telephonic interviews and the real interviews. So prepare the questions accordingly. Whatever you prepare for the real interviews, prepare for the telephonic round also. Important thing is, you should always practice. Even if no matter if it is a telephonic interview or a real interview, you should always practice. You should always try to do mock interviews. You should always try to record your answers, so that you may improve, like what went wrong during the interviews, how you can improve. You should always record. Next is, don't be monotonous over the phone, and don't try to copy anyone, don't try to emulate anyone. Be at yourself, be natural. Next we will discuss about the etiquettes during the during the interview. Once you go to the interview venue, you should always reach the interview venue slightly before time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the interview timings, so that you are comfortable, you feel a bit confident. Right? Secondly, you should always put your cell phone on the silent mode or switch off. Switch off is a better option, but at least turn your phone on the silent mode. Right? Next is, you should always shake hands before the interview and also after the interview. Lastly, you should have a good eye contact with the interviewer. Now let's talk finally about the dressing code. What should be the attire during the interviews? For men, suit is preferable, with tie, trousers acceptable? Similarly, if you are using a cologne, it should be very light. Socks should match the color of the trousers. Formal shoes, no sneakers, no sandals. For women, suits, preferably top and a pant. Minimum use of makeup so that nothing is very bold, right? Jewelry minimized, nothing too large or noisy. And lastly, if you are if you apply a perfume, then it should be very light. Avoid perfumes if applying, then it should be very light, right? So this is about the lecture on what causes bad impressions during the interviews. In the next class we will discuss more about the personality development. Thank you.